What we are being told is simple. We must fight climate change now with tough measures, and that's true. But we should take a step back and ask, who do these laws really protect? The world, humanity, or global capital? Well, today we will talk about the silent conflicts of interest, the unfair distribution of burdens, and global hypocrisy behind some of the laws enacted to combat climate change. First, let's take a look at the world map and find out which countries are making the laws. But where do the raw materials for these technologies come from? Lithium, cobalt, nickel, rare earths. The Paris Agreement, COP summits, carbon taxes, emissions trading systems. Here's how it works. A tropical forest is protected. Carbon savings are calculated on this forest. This savings is sold to a company. The company continues to produce that same amount of carbon emissions elsewhere. In other words, it can continue to pollute, only as long as it pays for it. While a few multinational corporations and wealthy individuals reap enormous profits by destroying the environment, the rest of us suffer the consequences. Laws should protect not only the planet, but also human dignity, cultures, and the right to life. For example, why are nuclear power plants preferred over hydroelectric power plants? The answer is quite simple. It's because nuclear energy makes more profit. It's a fact that fossil fuels are the biggest climate polluters. However, the sources of renewable energy are not as harmless as they may seem. Just like how we are trying to tackle climate change, we should also try to tackle these marketing tactics. Like, how can one person make a difference, right? But think about it this way. If each of us changes just one thing, like using reusable bags instead of plastic ones, the impact would be huge. If everyone does something, even if it's just a little bit, imagine how much change we can make together. We have the power to protect the environment and create a sustainable future. So don't ever think your actions are too small to make a difference. Every little bit counts. We can do this by supporting local businesses, repairing broken items instead of throwing them away, and refusing to fall for fast fashion trends. There are millions of people around the world who care about the environment just like us. Together, we can create a better future for ourselves and for the planet. So don't give up. Keep doing your part and inspire others to do the same. You might just be the inspiration someone needs to make a positive change. Who knows? We can still make a difference even if big corporations try to trick us. Don't forget, we are the consumers and we hold the power. For instance, solar panels and wind turbines are manufactured with rare earth metals. These elements are primarily sourced from China, which uses forced labor and violates human rights in its supply chains. On the other hand, while dams disrupt river ecosystems and harm fish migration, nuclear waste remains a hazardous material for thousands of years. Share your ideas and inspire others. Together, we are stronger and we can make a real difference. Thanks for watching. See you next time. So, is there really a perfect green energy source? Unfortunately, no. But there is one thing we can be sure of. No matter which energy source is used, the most important thing for governments should be the protection of human rights and the environment. Climate justice is not just about carbon. A solution without justice is not a solution. Yes, we need to protect nature and tackle climate change, but we should also look at who's writing these laws. And we should remember that nature is not the only thing that needs protecting. Recycling, reducing plastic use, saving water and energy, and eating less meat are just some of the ways we're told to reduce our impact on the planet. But what if I were to tell you that some products are designed to be disposable once they reach their expiration date? Yep, you're very right. Companies intentionally manufacture products that break easily or become obsolete quickly. That way, they ensure that customers keep coming back for more purchases. So while we're trying to save the planet, some companies are coming up with clever ways to keep profiting from their efforts. Human lives and dignity must be at the forefront of any law. Ironic, isn't it? We are commercializing nature in order to protect it. And it's unpromising, but who's financing what? Developing countries are now forced to pay the price of the climate crisis that industrialized countries have created for centuries to their own people. A peasant woman's field is declared a carbon offset project and taken away from her. A forest is protected to generate carbon credits, but the people living there can no longer even collect firewood. Is this really climate justice? Or is it a new climate colonialism? They are all mostly mined in Africa, South America, and Southeast Asia, but mining activities in these regions bring with them serious humanitarian and environmental problems such as child labor, destruction of nature, and pollution of water. Hundreds of billions of dollars are circulating. But is this money really going to protect nature? Or to make new fossil fuel projects look green? Are not at the tables where climate laws are written, but they are directly affected. A law is passed and the land they have lived on for years is declared a nature reserve, but their voices do not resonate in global markets. Because this law exists not only to protect nature, but also to protect investors' risks, to attract capital to luxury projects labeled sustainable, or to reduce the carbon footprint of megacorporations on paper. The word green has gradually become an advertising strategy. Also, indigenous peoples are often displaced from their lands. So while Western countries say they are switching to green energy, they are painting other geographies in gray. Let us start with a simple. Do you trust what you hear about protecting the environment and combating climate change? And which ones are paying the price for these laws? Welcome to our show. When leaders around the world meet up with statements and targets, we tend to believe these pledges are sincere and will be kept. Every 2 years, heads of state gather together at COP conferences. They discuss the increase or decrease of climate targets. But have you ever noticed that many of these decisions target developing countries? But in fact, when we look at what's written in the fine print, we see that these words do not match their deeds. Or rather, what we are not shown about climate laws. On paper, things may sound good, but in practice, there's a problem here. We live in a time when everyone talks about climate change and its dangers. In this episode, we want to talk about what we are not told. Part 1. How clean is clean energy? Switching to renewable energy sounds great. Wind turbines, solar panels, electric vehicles. Part 2. Is the just transition in climate laws real? Part 3. Carbon credits, the new generation climate exchange with the carbon credit system. Companies can buy the right to pollute. Part 4. Who is financing who? Green funds, incentive mechanisms, investment packages established within the framework of climate laws. And Part 5. Those who are not voiced, many indigenous communities, forest people, small farmers, and rural lifestyles. We know that the main cause of the climate crisis is the capitalist system. Climate change is very real, and the fight is necessary. But while fighting, we should not only look at the atmosphere, but also at people. Have you ever wondered why certain types of energy are encouraged? We are constantly bombarded with messages about the urgent need to save the environment. But hey, don't worry, because there's a solution for everything. It's interesting how sometimes we feel helpless when it comes to protecting the environment. And remember, we are not alone in this. And we would love to hear from you. What are you doing to protect the environment?